Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm pulling down my little panties.
And I am Ken Shamrock.
Welcome to episode 263, Summerslam 1997.
Heart
And Soul.
Great tag team name. Why was nobody ever Heart and Soul? Somebody may have been, but I'm not
They were
certain.
the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, but like before or even after.
Because, I don't know.
Power and glory.
Because they went for high energy instead of Heart and Soul.
Heart and Soul, it's
It could have been Owen and Coco right there.
Yep.
Heart and Soul.
There you go.
Taker.
Actually, I was like, has like a white guy and a black guy been like? I know that's totally like
Yeah. At this point,
stereotyping.
Yeah, but it's wrestling lives in stereotypes.
We're a couple years away from the world's greatest tag team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Heart and Soul. I mean, of course, Taker's never going to work in a tag team the way that like Kane and X-Pac or Rock and
Brothers
Mankind
of Destruction, man.
Brothers of Destruction for sure, but like with one that would be a Heart, where it's like, okay, well, a Daniel Bryan Undertaker could be fun if Taker was a little younger at the time. Heart and Soul.
I mean, hell, they could have done that with Daniel Bryan and Kane.
Yeah.
Instead of
X-Pac.
Team Hell No. Yeah, that's what they were called.
Yeah. I guess that Hell No is our Heart and Soul.
Yeah.
So this was the 10th SummerSlam produced by WWF. It took place on August 3rd, 1997, from the Continental Airlines Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey, with an attendance of 20,213.
Can I get a goddamn?
Goddamn.
Sounds like it could.
We're doing it, folks.
Quite a few people.
I mean, yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean,
it's more in one building than...
Probably a lot of it's because they haven't been able to have wrestling here in a few years.
That's right, because,
Yeah.
they had taxes, but luckily they had the tax crusher.
That was one of my potential nicknames, was the champion of not paying my taxes. Just kidding. I pay my taxes. Do not dox me.
But we are in New Jersey.
Yeah, we are.
So, Shane, did you do what you do?
I did, and then some. Yes, we're in New Jersey, and I had to bug Matt because I couldn't remember how many times we had been in New Jersey and if I had brought any of this stuff before. And we're pretty confident we've only been there like once before, so...
We've been there a few more times.
Yes.
You didn't join.
We collectively as a three.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything that happened before that.
Yeah.
Which was a practice run, Shane.
Yeah, it wasn't real.
No, it didn't happen.
It was all just a dream. We're in New Jersey, so I did what I normally do, and I jumped on the old Google machine and said, what the hell do people in New Jersey like to eat and drink and stuff? And they like to eat their submarine sandwiches. They like to, as much as everybody else.
It's not a hoagie or a grinder in New Jersey. It's a submarine.
It said submarine sandwich.
Right,
Jersey Mike's, buddy.
Yep.
Submarine.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
See, I almost brought that, and then I couldn't remember if I had brought that before. So...
It's all good.
I decided we needed alcohol because, it's summertime. We need a nice little summer drink.
I mean, this thing tastes like candy.
It pretty much does. It probably would taste a little more candy-ish, but we were just like a dribble shy on one of the alcohols in it, so I had to improvise and mix some regular whiskey with this specific whiskey just to stretch.
You're good to go. It tastes wonderful.
But yeah, I looked up and the signature cocktail, the unofficial drink, whatever the hell you want to call it, of New Jersey is the Jack Rose. Is pretty simple, but pretty freaking sweet and delicious. It is Applejack or Apple Jack Daniels or some sort of apple whiskey with some lime juice and grenadine.
What's funny is that it tastes, remember like the sour punch straws? kind of tastes like a
That's what it
the
exactly what it
tastes like the strawberry one. And it's like, maybe it's in my head because it's
It could
pink,
be the mixture of the grenadine and the lime
but
juice.
flavor-wise, it tastes like a fake strawberry sour candy.
I gotta take a little sip.
But, I mean, the apple definitely hangs out on the back. It's nice.
Yep.
I'm feeling like Carrie. What are the girls from Sex
Oh,
and the City?
Sex and the City, got you.
It's like, I don't know.
Like, you're feeling like Carrie? What, do we need to get some corn syrup and
No, I mean,
pour it over your head?
I mean, I love the movie Carrie. I have not watched enough Sex and the City to remember any of their names.
Carrie, Miranda, Samantha,
yes.
Charlotte.
I knew that.
But yeah, this is the Jack Rose, and it's garnished with the blueberry because blueberries are the, I guess, official fruit of New Jersey.
Okay.
Really? Interesting.
Never would have guessed.
But then, it's also something else. And, I figured we had to bring something for someone special today because, spoilers.
Let's get ready to say happy birthday.
Yes, it's Matt's birthday.
Yay!
Woo! So yes, I brought something also representing New Jersey in the form of the dessert. This is... I went back
by
to our
Shayna
friends.
Moleskin, so he can write his notes down. He's like, well,
Good luck with that.
just write it down, keep it in your pocket.
Went back to our friends at the Awaji Izakaya and rated their dessert case because they had quite a few varieties of some stuff that sounded pretty damn good. They've got a chocolate love and spoon cake, which is mouthfuls of chocolate pudding between 2 layers of dark, moist chocolate cake. They've got a brulee cheesecake. They have a matcha tiramisu.
That sounds
They have
neat.
a mochi ice cream. But with us being in New Jersey, I went with this
Blueberry delight.
whatever you want to call it, delectable treat. It's the blueberry cobbler white chocolate cheesecake.
Oh, wow.
Moist chunks of vanilla bean cream and sweet blueberry compote cheesecake finished with white chocolate shaving. Comes with some extra blueberries on there on the side. It's got some strawberries
I don't
sliced
really want
up.
to share it with anyone because it's fucking delicious.
Yep. That's why I'm like,
Try a small one. It's weird because you're like, oh, you got this from the Japanese spot, but these this does not seem like a Japanese dessert. We've had Japanese cheesecake. Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, nice. I don't know if they...
The white chocolate just like completely comes through.
White chocolate, a thing that can like be too much or just enough, and here it works very well. White chocolate and cheesecake,
Oh yeah,
it's a thing.
white chocolate cheesecake always goes well together. I learned that at Olive Garden years ago. Their raspberry white chocolate cheesecake that they had there. I don't know if they still have it.
Yeah,
but
I do.
It made me actually like something that had raspberry flavor in it.
Hey, that's a good point because every time they put white chocolate in dessert, it's always white chocolate and raspberry, and I want to like raspberries, but I don't love them.
Yeah,
Like I don't turn them away, but I also think that of all of the artificial flavors, artificial raspberry is the closest to what raspberry actually tastes like.
Yes,
Which is also kind of weird. Because, like, fake banana doesn't taste like banana.
Mm-hmm.
And
fake watermelon tastes even worse.
yeah, fake strawberry doesn't taste like a strawberry. Yeah. It's like, and I don't dislike those fake flavors.
But snozberries do taste like snozberries.
Absolutely.
All right, I had my fill on that. You can have the rest of it, mister.
I probably will. But a trio of films would also make its way to the theaters same weekend.
You're going to use the word film?
I am.
Okay. Bring it on.
Air Bud, Picture Perfect, and Spawn.
And see, I laughed when you threw Picture Perfect in there.
I
That
don't...
one was for you, Shane.
I figured so.
Okay, I've seen one of these movies.
Air
Guess
Bud?
which one?
Air Bud?
No, Spawn.
I mean, I figured Air Bud came out when you were, 9 or 10 years old, so you probably watched it back then.
Like, yeah, I guess, I was born in 87, so it was like, but even when Air Bud came out, I watched cartoons basically all through high school, and still Air Bud was a step too far for me, where I was not interested. But I have seen Spawn.
Yes. I saw Spawn. It's been a long time since I've seen Spawn.
I mean, we all know the best part of Spawn is John Leguizamo.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Spawn...
The best part of any movie that John Leguizamo's in is usually John Leguizamo.
Probably. I mean, yeah. He can be.
Super Mario Brothers.
He can be. He can be.
Wong Fu.
He can be much sometimes, but he is great and has aged into a very good character actor. But have you guys seen Air Bud? No way. Really?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I have not.
Matt.
I have seen too many Air Buds.
My God.
For
a podcast that you listen to, or just for fun?
Just for fun.
My God.
I have seen at least the first 2 or 3.
Are you going to make an argument that Air Bud is good?
No. Okay. Absolutely not.
But is it like bad fun? Or is it
I mean, it's stupid, silly.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like stupid and silly stuff, but I'd be more inclined to watch like White Chicks.
I mean, White Chicks is always going to be
it's always going to be funnier.
More enjoyable than
yeah,
Air
because
Bud,
like Air Bud's for children. That's a good point. But Air Bud's no good burger, is what I'm saying.
No,
or Snow
not.
Day, or Harriet the Spy.
I mean, there is at least, it looks like 10.
I was gonna say there's
sequels.
at least 10 sequels and spin-offs and.
Well, enough about Air Bud. What is Pitch Perfect?
Picture Perfect.
Oh, sorry, Pitch Perfect. I believe.
Yeah, Pitch Perfect is a totally different movie.
That's the Jimmy Fallon Red Sox movie.
No, that's Fever Pitch.
Yeah, that's Fever
Pitch.
Pitch
God,
Perfect is
my dad
the
loves
singing movie with like I can't think of her damn name. It's not this one.
I can't talk.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine.
Um,
Who's in it? I'm.
Picture Perfect
Yes,
is a Jennifer Aniston movie.
Oh.
Anna Kendrick.
There we go, Anna
Oh,
Kendrick.
Pitch Perfect. I know that.
Yeah.
But this is too early.
Yeah,
for that.
Picture Perfect. It's just a rom-com with Jennifer Aniston, Kevin Bacon, Jay Moore.
I love Kevin Bacon, Jay Moore, the man that gave everybody the in to doing a Christopher Walken impression.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what he's
this
known
is
best
Jay
for.
Moore's best film.
Yeah, I believe you.
This one, and I can't think of the damn name, but he played the voice of a bird, I think.
Yeah, but he's like, but like in this one, he's third billed, right?
Yes.
Second.
Oh wow.
Let's see, cast. At least on Google, it lists Jennifer Aniston, Kevin Bacon, Jay Moore.
I mean, yeah, Kevin Bacon should never be listed underneath Jay Moore.
It also has.
Jay Moore is second.
Oh,
See, I'm not looking at the actual poster. I'm just looking at the Google listing.
Yeah, where they just do
Kevin Bacon gets an and.
Ooh,
Kevin Bacon.
So
is he scooping in?
Who, Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, like I don't know the plot.
The plot is Jennifer Aniston is working in a company and she realizes that she has a better chance of being promoted or she thinks she does anyway, getting promoted if she's married. So she finds a fake fiance in Jay Moore. Kevin Bacon is her boss.
She marries Kevin Bacon at the end?
I honestly cannot remember.
Okay.
I think
No,
her
she
and
marries
Jay Moore
Jay
end
Moore.
up getting
Okay,
it's a typical
but
thing
she's
where you're a stranger and this can't buy me love. I need your help. So now we're gonna fall in love. Yeah, Ileana Douglas, Olympia Dukakis.
Is she related to
Kevin Dunn,
the presidential candidate?
I think they're cousins.
I don't know. That's just I don't know who the actress is, but
Olympia Dukakis, she's been in lots of stuff. Steel Magnolias, Moonstruck,
oh yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she
she's
won
great.
a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for Moonstruck.
Yeah, she's a wonderful actress.
Yeah,
I love Moonstruck.
She's like if she's I don't know the Doris Roberts of movies as opposed to TV.
Is Picture Perfect better than Moonstruck?
No.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Picture
questions?
Perfect isn't better than
Most things.
I don't. I'm trying to think of other Jennifer Aniston movies, and this one probably falls at the end. Like
Yeah.
Brothers McMullen, I would definitely watch before
Never heard of it.
the Picture Perfect. Cake, I would watch before Picture Perfect.
Okay.
Meet the Millers.
Oh, that movie.
Horrible Bosses.
That, was it like the Millers movie had an incredibly it was a pretty mid comedy, but this
Iron Giant.
I mean Iron Giant's great, but the scene where the kid raps the TLC song was maybe the hardest I laughed. At least at that point in time in a while at a comedy because we were in prime like Apatow comedy era and. Apatow is like, what if Albert Brooks made 3-hour movies that weren't funny? But that's
Starring Adam Sandler?
That's just no. They don't star Adam Sandler. They'd probably be funnier if they did. But gonna bring it all back to the only movie of the 3 of these that I've seen, Spawn. Perfect VHS film because the visuals are horrific.
All of them. Like, you don't go to the theater to watch any of these.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you can't watch Spawn on DVD or Blu-ray now because the visual effects are so bad that you need the degraded quality of VHS to not just, like, have your brain, like, crack like glass when you
need that
get to those scenes.
Tracking that goes across the screen.
Yeah. Well, Leguizamo, the makeup's good. He's very good. I don't have any strong feelings about Spawn, but I appreciate the HBO series and the movie for what they were at the time that they existed.
And I haven't watched Spawn long enough, or in recent years, to be able to really remember much of anything other than John Leguizamo's in it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe one day Todd McFarlane would be hard up enough to write Spawn versus Airbud.
There's an entire Spawn universe going on right now in the comics. Like,
I believe you.
There's like 5 different books.
Really? Spawn's on a
yeah, they hit the 300th issue like maybe 2 years ago, and they've
just been blowing it out.
Did an entire universe: King Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn, a team up book.
Great. We're gonna get like
we're not gonna
Spawn
get
of Thrones or something like
I
that.
mean, I'm sure that as far
a new
as
Spawn movie is always in the works.
Yeah,
they
that's
just have
true.
to decide if like the graphics are worth the money.
I will say, for the comic nerds out there, of the, Image superheroes, at least on the OG side of it all, I'm definitely more of a Savage Dragon man.
I mean, I've read more Spawn than I have Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
I've read more Spider-Ham than I read of either of those, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a bad choice.
No, not a bad choice
at all.
I love me some Savage Dragon, but, I'm not opposed to reading Spawn.
Well, let's find out if you're opposed
To SummerSlam.
Yeah. The show opens with an instrumental version of the national anthem playing. And we see shots of the crowd before seeing Vince looking very stoic and doing his best Napoleon impression. He has his hand in his jacket instead of over his heart.
Well, it's because his heart's not where the rest of ours are. That's why he's made so much money.
His heart is in his wallet.
Yeah.
Which is in his pocket right
here.
A true mutant.
The WWF logo video comes on, followed by a black and white video with highlights of our competitors and narration. In a perfect world, there would be no villains, no conspicuous manifestations of hate. Athletic excellence would be applauded. Sportsmanship would be the rule. Our heroes would remain heroes forever. We then get highlights of Bret. If life was fair, then this legend would be lauded in his pursuit of a historic 5th WWF Championship. Instead, he's a fallen idol. America's public enemy #1. The respect abandoned, the legacy bludgeoned, and sped upon by a society he feels condones defiance and perpetuates hate. We then get highlights of Undertaker. If life were fair, then this mighty champion, this surveyor of deception and conqueror of all earthly hells, would surely revel in the championship spotlight. The bright lights wouldn't singe his aura, illuminating a dark, horrifying secret from a distant past. And then highlights of Shawn. And if life were fair, then this man might still be champion, dancing, flying, showcasing his extraordinary talents to legions of fans. He wouldn't be an athlete betrayed by his unwilling knee, a man surrendering a boyhood dream.
One single tear.
To search for the lost smile of youth.
A second single tear.
Back to Taker. Is it fair that tonight, even in victory, this champion will be haunted by personal demons whose voices cry out from the dark? And then to Hitman. Is it fair that tonight this man may rewrite history, yet still incur the wrath of a hostile and unappreciative nation? And finally with Michaels. And is it fair that tonight's special referee is a despised enemy of the challenger? Will vengeance flow ruinous from his biased heart? ensuring that tonight will be the last night Bret Hart ever wrestles in this country again.
Brought to you by Stridex. My God.
Goes from the serious, deep, dark, sad, in a world to bubblegum pop.
Just like, did they find the thesaurus and just
no, that was
find the most craziest words that we could ever put into a narration?
I was exactly about to say the same thing. It's like, oh, Vince, somebody bought Vince Pocket Thesaurus. It is wild. But it's really, I think it's well done. The package
is very well done.
It's very, very well done. But it's really funny to be like, brought to you by Stridex, and they show the blimp, and then there's just somebody pressed too many pyro buttons at the same time, and the pyro just turns into just like a fucking flash grenade. It's crazy looking. But hey, I'm here for it.
McMahon welcomes us to the show, joined by Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler, and they preview our matches for the evening. Before we go to our first one, Hunter Hearst Helmsley with Chyna versus Mankind in a steel cage match.
And boys, we're back to the blue cage. That big old blue cage.
It's classic.
Third match of this ongoing trilogy. Happy to see it.
We get a video package of highlights from Canadian Stampede and this past Monday's Raw, where Foley, dressed as production crew, would attack Triple H from behind with a video camera.
I mean, I love it. It's so funny.
Until Chyna jumps in the ring to spear Mankind, taking him down. Also, I want to give a little bit of a backstory because it kind of helps with contextualize this match plus other matches later on in the show. Since the last pay-per-view, Foley had come out wanting to be Steve Austin's new tag team partner. But Stone Cold didn't want a partner, especially a long-haired freak like Mankind.
So,
Austin would then be facing Owen and Bulldog, who had won a tag team tournament for a chance at the titles. And he'd be facing them by himself, when strange, funky music would play. Foley would appear on the Titantron saying that Stone Cold may not want Mankind, but he didn't say anything about Dude Love.
Dude Love. Dude Love.
Foley would make his way out to the ring and help Austin win the titles, with Stone Cold shaking his hand after the match, saying he proved he could get the job done.
In a groovy fashion.
Far out, man.
Yeah, I mean, pretty fun stuff, because before I caught the context from the rest of the show, because they don't give it to you all right here off the top like Matt did. There's a guy in a Dude Love gear, meaning at the front, in the first row, and I just love to see it, because Dude Love has never been spammed. He's kind of been just like a card in the back pocket of the magician that is Mick Foley.
Mm-hmm.
So the match gets going, and Hunter tries to escape immediately through the door.
They're doing who leaves first, which I'm always going to talk about it. Don't think that's how cage matches should go. And I'll try not to say another word. Continue, Matt.
Mankind would stop him, dragging Triple H back into the ring and beating him down with right hands, stomps, a running knee, and a pulling piledriver.
Get him.
Foley walks towards the door, but Chyna takes over for the ref and shuts it to let him know that he can't go that way.
Right on the head.
So Mankind turns and locks the mandible claw onto Hunter, only for Chyna to climb the cage to choke him through the ropes, allowing Triple H to escape the hold.
Now, the reason we have this cage is so that Chyna cannot get her hands on Mankind.
And Chyna's getting her hands on Mankind more than she ever has before.
Because it's no holds barred, baby.
Heels being heels.
Foley with a clothesline and begins to climb the cage, getting to the top, when Chyna would meet him there to punch Mankind right in the balls, allowing Hunter to climb up to deliver a superplex.
This crowd might be into this, but that spot does not get the pop that it deserves. It is a superplex off of halfway, 3/4 of the way up the cage. My God.
Triple H looks to the door, but decides to dish out more punishment, throwing Foley into the cage multiple times. Several knee drops to the head and ramming his head into the cage several times as well.
That made my head hurt watching his head hit the side of that cage as many times as it does in this match.
Yeah, you'll see that Mick Foley digs in, whereas he treats Triple H's head more gingerly. Mm-hmm. There's a close-up spot where I'm like, I don't believe this at all. That's very nice of you, Mr. Foley.
Hunter starts climbing to the top, but Mankind grabs hold of him to keep Triple H from escaping, allowing them to trade right hands before Foley brings Hunter back down to the mat. Mankind's using the cage on Triple H's face when Chyna would climb up to nail Foley with a forearm, allowing Hunter to hit an inverted atomic drop, only for Mankind to return the favor along with a clothesline. Yeah. And Foley telegraphs a back body drop, so Triple H hits a facebuster across the knee before going for a suplex. But Mankind reverses to put Hunter into a tree of woe, hanging from the cage, with Foley hitting a crossbody to knock him down.
Pretty fun stuff.
Triple H thrown into a cage a few times now before Mankind charges in, only to be back body dropped into the cage himself.
And the crowd is hot now, but where were they for that superplex? Maybe it was too shocking for them this early into the match.
And Hunter starts to climb again when Foley meets him on the top rope, trading strikes until Mankind rams Triple H's head into the cage, causing him to fall and crotch himself, eventually stumbling off, only to get his boot caught in the ropes.
He's a real Tenzan. I was like Hiroyoshi. I was trying to remember how to say the first name correctly. I did it.
Okay, I'm like, I don't remember.
Foley crawls his way to the door, only for Chyna to swing it full force right into Mankind's head.
Ouch.
And fun fact here, Foley has said that it was the most pain he has ever felt in a match.
Jay is crazy.
And he nearly blacked out from it.
I mean, that's a crazy thing for Mick Foley, of all people, to say.
Yeah, guy who's fallen off of everything onto everything and had pieces of his body actually ripped off of himself during matches.
But there's also a thing where, like, you know, adrenaline or like trauma, your body can like take over, where this might have just been like the correct amount of pain before you reach that threshold. But either way, pretty nuts.
So the ref is admonishing Chyna on the floor, so she just throws him into the steel steps, allowing her to grab a chair, climb the cage, and toss it into the ring.
I love that, like she throws the chair in, and it basically like bounces at Hunter's feet and into his hands. Yep. It's so like, you know, programmed video game almost, but it looks obviously more realistic.
It's like that Waffle House. The girl's getting the chair thrown at her, and it just
yeah,
ends up in her hand and bounces away.
It's just like perfect. Just luck. Perfect bounce.
Hunter would set the chair in the middle of the ring, looking to hit a pedigree. No. Only for Mankind to counter into a catapult of Triple H into the cage.
Hell yeah.
Right where Chyna was hanging on at, sending her crashing into the guardrail.
I mean, what a great, perfect WWF spot. Crowd's going wild at this point.
Foley continues with a double arm DDT right onto the chair before climbing to the top of the cage, while Chyna jumps in the ring, looking to pull Hunter to safety, but then just leaves. And Mankind has made it over the cage and he's climbing down, when he has a change of heart as well, returning to the top, ripping his shirt open to reveal a nothing, even though it was supposed to be a faded heart on his chest.
Oh, but it melted off.
It sweated off, basically showing everyone, hey, I am Dude Love.
Yeah.
That makes sense now. Okay, I was like, it's
a funny
different.
And cute idea, but when he pulled his shirt open, I just thought that he was just kind of like having fun. And obviously he was, but we didn't get the intended. Yeah. It's like you need to borrow some Sting makeup.
He then flies off the top of the cage with a elbow drop.
Yeah.
Foley again climbs while Chyna once again jumps in the ring, this time actually pulling Triple H to the door. But Mankind reaches the floor first for the win.
I love that Mankind, he crawls to the ropes and begins. It's like, yeah, it's smart not to try to use the door, but because last time he got his head smashed in, and he could have got there before Triple H did. It's less heightened drama.
And if you didn't figure it out from the retelling there, Chyna jumped her cue the first time.
Yeah.
By jumping in the ring. But post-match, Foley lays on the floor while his piano music plays.
I love the piano
when it
music.
would stop. And the Dude Love music hits.
Dude Love.
So Mankind's foot begins to tap to the beat, rising him to his feet and dancing down the aisle to the back.
Doing the little pass the hands back and forth
Oh,
between
yeah.
knees.
The rubber knees or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
I do love the exit music. It's a fine match, but I hate the cage thing. It's like if he could have pinned him or made him say I quit or submit him.
We'll get there.
It's
one day.
It's still good. I just think a cage.
They have to
should
reinvent
mean-
the cage before they can do that.
I just feel like a cage should mean more, and I won't say any more about it. I mean it this time.
Todd Pettengill then welcomes Governor Christine Todd Whitman. She's the governor of New Jersey. And she's joined by WWF President Gorilla Monsoon and the Headbangers. And they let us know that this is the first televised WWF show in the state in 8 years by her finding a loophole in the entertainment tax. Because WWF isn't wrestling. It's sports entertainment.
So it's all New Jersey's fault, huh?
And it took till 1997 for Vince McMahon to finally break the concept of kayfabe throughout the entire country. New Jersey was the holdout. Maybe they're our heroes.
Todd thanks her for what she did, with Whitman saying that they're ready to rumble and other wrestling puns.
I hope she didn't get sued for that. Maybe it was too soon.
Yeah. She's the champion of reducing taxes in the great state of New Jersey.
She then calls the Headbangers New Jersey's best, only for Pettengill to ask if she's had her shots, with the tag team not looking very amused by the joke. Monsoon then calls the governor the People's Champion, presenting her with a replica title belt. And Whitman says she takes the title seriously, that she'll defend it if someone wants to take it. Followed by Vince claiming that she will be president someday.
What a fucking dickhead.
And at the time, she actually was on the short list to be Bush's vice president.
Oh, okay. World wasn't ready yet.
She ended up being the head of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. I believe that's what it was. And she was the person who came out and said that after 9/11, that the air in New York was fine to breathe. And so she kind of got into a little bit of trouble for that.
Back to Jersey she goes.
Everybody says a lot of stuff. I'm looking at a lot of people that I won't name right now.
Like, you're looking at me, what the fuck did I do?
No, not you. I'm just, thinking of some names of some people that say some things prove to be wrong.
So we go to our commentators who talk about the next match, saying that Pillman has to wear a dress if he loses. We also see Tiger Jeet Singh in the crowd with his son, Tiger Ali Singh. And we haven't seen...
Jeet! Sorry.
You had to do it.
And we haven't seen either of them since Battle 7, episode 140.
Wow. Damn, it's been a while.
Also, the thing to point out, that Mick Foley pulls his mask off. It gets knocked off. And it's like, is he revealing that he's Dude Love? Or is he just proving that he is human because Vince McMahon has called him a deformed monster for so long just because he's kind of a lumpy guy?
In that moment, I want to say he was Dude Love.
He was Dude Love, yeah. Because I think Mick Foley, we can't all say he has the most wonderful wrestling body of all time, but I don't think he's an ugly man.
I mean, I want to say it's...
At least his face.
Jim
It's kinda cute.
Ross.
Yeah.
O. Lawler makes a comment about him having that, like, Charles Manson-esque quality.
But he's like more teddy bear. I think Mick Foley's a cute man. I don't want to kiss him or anything.
Is he a zaddy?
No, he's definitely not that. I just think that, I don't think he like...
It's my new running joke.
Yeah, sure. He's, he is incredibly handsome compared to Mark Jacobs. Is that the name? What's Kane's first name?
Glenn.
Glenn Jacobs. Glenn Jacobs, what a horrific
Mark
face.
Jacobs is like a producer.
Yeah,
or something.
no, Mark Jacobs I think is a fashion designer.
There we are.
Double Trouble, the Nickelodeon show. No, that's Mark Summers.
No, that's Mark Summers.
Yes.
No, Mark Jacobs I think is a fashion
Double Dare.
designer or
Double
a fashion house or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Kane, what a face. Awful, ugly human.
The man then sends us to a video package of a beach party happening in the parking lot of the arena,
I was going to say, sometimes your insides match your outsides.
I mean, yeah.
where different superstars appeared, such as the Headbangers crowd surfing, the Heartbreak Kid posing on top of a car, and Stone Cold flipping off the crowd to cheers.
What a world.
We then go to our second match, Goldust with Marlena versus Brian Pillman.
Is this the first singles Pillman match we've actually watched? Maybe the second?
In WWF.
In WWF.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we've seen plenty in WCW. We were huge fans of him over there. And we've enjoyed his sporadic heel work. And here we get to see him in the ring for the first time in a while, one-on-one, with a man he knows pretty intimately in the ring.
The story behind this match was that Flying Brian said he respected Dusty Rhodes' parenting style, as his negligence had turned his son into the world's biggest drag queen. So there was only one fitting stipulation for this bout. If Pillman couldn't win, he would wear a dress on Raw. Maybe even Marlena's dress, as if it wasn't the only thing of hers he'd get inside.
They're getting nasty. They're towing the line to the Tude, and also acknowledging the lineage of the Rhodes here.
Yes.
We then see a video recap of Brian beating down the Golden One, choking him with one of Marlena's dresses until she jumps on his back. And as they both make their way to the ring, we see a mannequin at ringside with one of Marlena's dresses on it, while we also get an interview from earlier in the day with Pillman, where he knows that she is excited to have him in her dress. But it's not going to happen because he's not that easy. You have to wine and dine him first.
Quick and to the point.
And Brian jumps Goldust from behind, raking the eyes on the ropes, chopping away, before whipping him into a corner. Only for the Golden One to leap up and off backwards, right into the charging Pillman.
That blind back elbow.
Goldust with mounted punches, only for Brian to attempt a Manhattan drop. But the Golden One blocks and kisses Pillman, sending Brian out to the floor to regroup.
Slap him across the face. We call that a lip lock, guys.
Back in the ring, Pillman with more eye rakes, chops, and a back elbow, before rolling to the floor to harass Marlena. Only for Goldust to follow out and hit a clothesline to protect his wife. And then return to the ring where the Golden One telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Brian to go back to strikes and a snap suplex before heading up top. But Goldust meets him there to send Brian flying with the press slam onto the ropes, causing Pillman to crash out to the floor where Marlena blows cigar smoke in his face.
Pretty fun. Also, the visual of the post Goldust kiss of Brian selling it, but the makeup. He looks like one of the boys from the Fury Road movie where they're shooting spray paint in their face to get high. But it's but it's Pillman and it's Goldust makeup. It's fun.
The Golden One follows out again when Brian would use Marlena as a shield, only to get a cheap shot in before nailing a DDT on the floor and ramming Goldust into the director's chair.
Directed.
And the Golden One is rolled in, with Pillman heading up top to deliver a flying clothesline for a 2 count, followed by a rear chinlock to wear his opponent down. And Goldust makes it to his feet, turning a DDT into a backslide pin for a near fall. But Brian then nails another clothesline for a 2 count to regain control. The Golden One's sent to the ropes, coming off with a leaping clothesline before the 2 trade strikes, which leads to flip, flop, and fly by Goldust, who then goes for a Bulldog, only for Pillman to block by just tossing the Golden One to the floor. And they meet on the apron where Goldust comes in with a very bad sunset flip.
It doesn't look great.
So he isn't able to pull Brian over as they crawl their way back towards the ropes, where Marlena clocks Brian with her purse, finally allowing the Golden One to pull him over for the pin. and the win. Post-match, Marlena throws the mannequin into the ring, but Pillman just destroys it, as he knows he has to wear a dress tomorrow on Raw.
It's not very often I find myself yelling at the TV over a 90s wrestling match, but yeah, I found myself in that sunset flip. Just let go. Just let go. Do it over. Do something different. Something. Because that was... is ugly.
It was ugly, but they were close enough to the ring for Marlena to get up there.
Eventually get there.
yeah, for sure. They were struggling.
Vincent tells us that they have a new WWF record with the crowd of 20,213 at the arena. It's good for them.
Summerslam. Yep.
We then go to our third match. The Godwinns of Henry O. and Phineas I. Godwinn versus the Legion of Doom of Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal.
That was the sound of my hand on my forehead. We're still working Godwinns. Mm-hmm. In 97, I felt like they went away. Here they are.
They did go away.
And they're back.
We haven't seen the Godwinns since WrestleMania 13, episode 247. And we get a video recap of this feud, where we see Hog having his neck broken due to a Legion of Doom doomsday device. That's the reason why they haven't been around.
It looks like a believable broken neck. It's a pretty nasty fall.
But in this time, the Godwinns have ditched Hillbilly Jim, their shirts, and their good attitudes. And they would continuously attack the Road Warriors once they got back to action, hitting them with their buckets, chairs, and even slop drops on the ramp.
I heard Godwinns, and I lost my mind, but then I saw the Godwinns, and there's a little more edge. T-shirts are gone, tattoos are out. They look a little more fit, but they have an energy we haven't seen before, and I appreciate it.
They are no longer just good old boys meaning no harm. They're there to fuck some shit up.
Yeah. It's not a full coat of paint, but it is a new tint.
It's not a full bucket of slop, but it is like a quarter filled with like torn up cheeseburgers and French fries or something, whatever it looked like in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's not a full bucket of slop. It's a shot of whiskey.
We go live to the back with the Legion of Doom, where Hawk says they've been slop dropped, and hit with buckets, which they didn't like any of it very much. But it all ends here tonight in New Jersey. Animal then chimes in that revenge is sweet and payback will be hell for the Godwinns. And as they make it to the ring, a brawl breaks out immediately, spilling outside with Hawk leaping off the apron with a clothesline. McMahon tells us that the Legion of Doom has said the first time that they broke Henry's neck, it was an accident. But tonight, it won't be. Mm-hmm. Now back in the ring, Animal sends Pig to a corner, charging in, only for Phineas to move, bringing in Henry for a double back suplex. But the Road Warrior floats over and nails a double clothesline that sends the Godwinns out to regroup, where Hawk gets a clothesline to Pig as well. And the Godwinns return with Phineas beating down Hawk, and he tries for a guillotine leg drop, but the Road Warrior moves, sending Pig crashing down to the floor. And Hawk follows out to toss Phineas into the steel steps before heading back inside for multiple leg drops that gets a 2 count. Henry's tacked in, and he works on Hawk's neck with a hangman's neckbreaker until the Road Warrior can escape to tag in his partner. An Animal works the arm of Hog, but he's whipped to the ropes, where Pig kicks the Road Warrior in the back, allowing Henry to hit a clothesline that takes them both out to the floor.
A real 360.
And Hog continues the punishment on the back as he charges at Animal once he's back on the apron, sending them flying off into the guardrail. And they return to the ring, where Henry hits a body slam for a near fall, followed by Phineas applying a bear hug to Animal, who claps the ears to escape, but falls victim to more double teaming from the Godwinns. Pig then comes off the second rope, only for Animal to clothesline him in midair, allowing him to make the crawl for the
not so
hot tag. Hawk cleans house with the punches, power slams, and clotheslines, before a neck breaker to Hog for a 2 count. The Road Warriors hit more clotheslines to Henry, followed by setting up for the Doomsday device, only for Phineas to save his partner by shoving him out of the way. So he takes a flying clothesline instead. The Road Warriors then toss Pig to the floor and decide to deliver a spike piledriver to Hog for the pin and the win. Post-match, Hawk motions that he wants the belts, while the commentators speculate about Henry's neck. Did the Legion of Doom try to break it on purpose?
Hawk at least did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think that, in the promo, Hawk and Animal have, like, the Power Team stickers on their stuff, so maybe he's in a better place. He worked better.
Yeah, this is one of the cleaner LOD matches I've seen in a while.
And the bummer is that the Godwinns are more interesting than they've been in a while, if ever. But people just want to see LOD beat them down. Mm-hmm. But that's not going to happen because Hawk is proved himself to be unreliable. So they have a more down the middle match. Like, Godwinns get some shit in, blah, blah, blah. But people want to see the Legion of Doom just fucking wreck shit. But this was better than I thought it was going to be. For sure.
I hate to break it for these people in 1997, but the 1986 Road Warriors
stayed in 1986.
Are no more in 97.
Absolutely. But it proves how much they penetrated wrestling in that they still mean a lot now.
Vince then sends us to footage of the contestants for the $1 million giveaway, where we see 12-year-old Ryan Shoddick and Patrick Stevenson arrive to New Jersey, getting shuttled around to various events. We then go live to Todd Pettengill on the stage with Sonny, Sable, and our contestants.
Sonny looking good as ever.
And they can win $1 million if the key they pick opens the Undertaker's casket full of cash. And Todd says Patrick looks like Stone Cold. Mm-hmm. And I was like, more like Aldo Montoya, if you know what I
well, you know, I've actually had this look for several years now.
He does, yeah. He's tall, thin, moderately effeminate, skinny bald man with a goatee and jean shorts. It's a 90s look for sure.
Mm-hmm. I was waiting for you to call him, like, handsome or something.
No, he wasn't handsome at all. Not for me.
Was he a zaddy?
I don't know what that means.
No, he wasn't.
Pettengill then asks them to pick their key number. Ryan goes with 52, while Patrick goes with number 13. Todd then calls 2 additional contestants on the phone, with him looking at his piece of paper, but Sonny decides to hold it right in between her cleavage, so he was very distracted. And this goes as expected, as no one answers the first call. The second one's disconnected.
Yeah, the second one's like, no.
The third try gets an answer, with Pettengill asking if he's watching, only for him to say that his cable company doesn't carry the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And they all laugh it off and will allow him to pick key number 33 before trying another number, getting a lady who picks key 14. Only for no one's key to work, as the winning key was number 3. But all the contestants do get a $5,000 savings bond. And Ryan got a hug from Sable.
Which is worth more than $1 million, according to all of the gentlemen
I'd
on the
prefer
screen.
one from Sonny, but, who am I to argue?
Vincent sends us to a recap of our next match, where we see Bulldog and Ken Shamrock arm wrestling on Raw. But Davey Boy would attack Ken, smearing dog food on him. And we return to our commentators, who now have a can of dog food on their table, telling us the loser of the next match has to eat a can.
I have a question. We have the mannequin with the dress on.
Yes, all the Hart Foundation members have a stipulation on their matches.
I pick that up, but my other question is Russo question mark?
Oh, I'm sure.
Russo's here already?
Yeah.
Okay. But Russo's influence is being felt at this point. Because this is Russo and Vince, like, humiliation, Howard Stern shit.
Yeah.
But like
Absolutely.
we haven't seen much of like the Russo stuff come in this strongly on a pay-per-view yet, and it's pretty.
I mean, I think the very first one that he was the head writer for, there was like 4 of the 5 matches had bad finishes.
Yeah. I'm just like these stipulations and like the putting tits in front of a child's face stuff. It's so Russo. We've been cusping the Attitude Era, but it feels like we may have arrived.
Yeah, I mean we're literally a couple months away from it.
Absolutely
being.
Yeah, for sure. But like it's already sleazier than I expected. Is what I'm saying. Dog food, tits, men being forced to wear dresses. That's all.
By other men who wear dresses.
Yes.
JR then also plugs a special one-night-only pay-per-view coming from the United Kingdom. And we're going to cover it in a couple months, where Bulldog will challenge Shawn Michaels.
I mean, that sounds pretty fun.
So we get our 4th match, British Bulldog versus Ken Shamrock for the WWF European Championship.
And the champion is out first.
Foreshadowing.
I flipped the script on you.
And the two start flailing away at each other when Ken hits a belly-to-belly suplex, sending Bulldog out to the floor, where Shamrock follows to ram him into a steel steps, before returning to the ring to work the leg with grapevines until Davey Boy can make the ropes.
Loving the Ken Shamrock energy.
Oh, his speed walk down to the ring.
Well, yeah, just his face. It's palpable. He kind of looks like young Jack De Niro.
Young who?
Jacked like Robert De Niro.
Oh, got you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, who the hell is Jack De Niro?
Jack De Niro. A young jacked Robert De Niro. Pronouns, pal.
Clothesline by Ken for a 2 count. Strikes to the midsection and a knee lift. But Bulldog gets a boot up on a charging Shamrock, allowing him to nail a clothesline, headbutts, and a stalling suplex for a near fall. Davey Boy wears down Ken with chin lock, with Shamrock fighting out occasionally with knees and sunset flips for 2 counts, only for Bulldog to respond with clotheslines and return to the hold that ends up busting the lip of Ken.
I do love that Ken gets that brief moment where he's, laying into Bulldog, crowds USA. As much as you can talk about the Bret Canada angle, like in hindsight being kind of silly or not working, I think it's working enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just point that out because people poo-poo it quite a bit these days, but like it's not working.
Davey Boy tosses Shamrock into the ring post,
Posted.
with him falling out to the floor, where the punishment continues by throwing him into the steps. And Bulldog actually picks up the ring steps to smash over the head, but the ref threatens a disqualification, forcing Davey Boy to drop them and allowing Ken to fire up with strikes until a low blow by Bulldog.
Boom.
They return to the ring to keep up the attack with right hands and a rear chin lock, only for Shamrock to break free, but he's then tossed back out to the floor, where Davey Boy body slams him. Bulldog then grabs a handful of dog food, slaps it across Ken's face, causing Shamrock to just lose it.
And he does a good job of losing it.
He starts beating down Davey Boy, grabbing the can off the announcer's table to clock Davey Boy in the back of the head for the disqualification.
I mean, it's he really does. The can is flat to the back of his head. It's like, yeah, maybe they scored it or whatever, but these are not. It's still a can of dog food. Who knows?
Post-match, Ken rolls Bulldog back into the ring, shoving the ref, and continues to beat down Davey Boy with kicks and locking on a chokehold.
He's fucking pissed.
Officials fill the ring to try to stop the attack, finally convincing Shamrock to let go. But Bulldog is unconscious. Pat Patterson and the other officials confront Ken, so he starts belly-to-belly suplexing everyone.
He's going Taz!
Before screaming, "Get out of my way!"
What a tagline.
Letting out a primal scream and leaving to the back.
Pretty high energy stuff. Ken Shamrock feels electric. I will say that a year ago, Vince McMahon shied away from blood. Here, they're zooming in on it. He is pointing it out. He is saying the word. And it's just kind of funny. And it kind of adds into him just how it was like, oh, well, Russo's all over this. Vince McMahon is eating the slop and feeding into it.
Sports entertainment. You got to give people what they want.
Exactly. When personal issues don't draw problems, controversy does. That's the tagline of the book I'll never write. About the Attitude Era. And the issues that it's caused.
Todd Pettengill is then in the back with Shawn Michaels. And Todd asks if he will risk his career to get even with Bret. With the Heartbreak Kid responding, there's nothing between them. They settled it at Mania 12. But he's there to be an impartial and unbiased ref. Nothing will get past the keen eye of Michaels. And Todd sends it back to the commentators for the last time, as we won't see him again until 2020, when NXT would start running in-your-house shows.
They brought him back for that?
Yeah.
Todd Pettengill?
I didn't realize that.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, he was did some promo work for the NXT and in-your-house shows.
Where did he go?
He was just having a hard time doing his daily radio show in New York and also doing the WWF job. So he just was like, I'm going to give this up, and we'll see his replacement here in a little bit.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. The radio show is at least...
Actually, I think it's still going.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if he has a family or not, but it's like, traveling on the road like that and doing a radio show.
Yep.
And radio shows actually matter. Now, if he has a radio show, it's probably like serious talk radio thing or whatever. Still wild because I can't imagine how much money they actually pay a like daily talk radio show. But
we'll find out one day.
Yeah, fly me out. I'll say whatever you want. There's a couple words I won't.
Ross and the King then speak about how Shamrock needed to calm down or he will have a short career, that there's no excuse for his behavior. Vince also mentions a new commissioner would be announced the next night. So the era of Sarge will start.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah.
Slaughter takes over as the commissioner. McMahon then also sends us to a video package about the Gang Wars, where we see footage of the formation of the DOA and Los Boricuas and their various brawls. What will happen when they actually compete?
What does Boricua mean?
I don't know. I didn't look it up.
Me neither. I just wouldn't. I meant to, but there's the Fat Joe or Big Pun song, right? Borica, Borica. Yeah, it's like a chorus to a popular late 90s, early 2000s hip hop song.
Yeah.
Boricua,
Borera.
Yeah. But that
variants, or less commonly Boricua, plural Boricuas, also Boricuas, is a native of Puerto Rico or a person of Puerto Rican descent.
Okay, so it's just like it's like Amigo, but Puerto Rican.
Rita Moreno has been making headlines in the entertainment industry for over 70 years. I don't know why they felt the need to put that in there.
Yeah, but it makes sense now because those guys are Puerto Rican as well. Those rappers that I named.
So we get our fifth match. Los Boricuas of Savio Vega, Jesus Castillo, Jose Estrada Jr., and Miguel Perez Jr. versus the Disciples of Apocalypse of Crush, 8-Ball, Chainz, and Skull. And the last time we saw Perez Jr. was at Ultra Clash 93, episode 101. 8-Ball and Skull, a.k.a. the Blue/Bruise Brothers, at The Doctor Is In, episode 212.
My God.
And Chainz, a.k.a. Brian Lee, at Cyberslam 97, episode 242.
You know what's crazy?
Looking at them, trying to make sure, are those the same guys? Because they got big.
Also, we've shit on Brian Lee a lot. Mm-hmm. Chainz looks great in this match. Brian Lee looks pretty great in this. Just saying. Considering what this is, he looks pretty good. Also, why? Why are we doing this? Matt, take it away.
Gang wars. The bigger question is, why is DOA the faces?
Because they're white?
That's the bigger question.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like they're white.
True.
Yeah, but they're white motorcycle
But
guys, which basically means you're a
Spoiler
racist
alert
gang.
for halfway through this match, but at one point, like, DOA's being beat down by the Los Boricuas, and I was like, you're 4, 6'6", 290-pound gentlemen.
Yeah.
Why are you getting beat down by 5'8", 200-pound guys?
Yeah. There is no Puerto Rican that's ever been born that's over 5'11". They're taller than most Mexican or Guatemalans for sure, but they are not rocking an average 5'10" height even.
So the Boricuas are proud of their heritage, and they shake hands with the Spanish announcers on their way to the ring, while DOA rides in on motorcycles, circling the ring before parking in the aisle and rushing the ring to start brawling.
You know what my first thought was when these guys came out on their motorcycles?
I'm American badass.
That was part of it, but yeah, Taker must be jealous as hell. He's been Undertaker for a decade.
There was rumors that they were going to be Undertaker's underlings.
Yeah, because that's probably what he wanted. He's like, let me do something that I'm into, which is motorcycles and being pro-police. But he'll get his chance.
So the Boricuas are all tossed out of the ring, so they regroup to see the match actually start with Estrada being whipped around by Skull, only for Jose to get a boot up and fly off the second rope with a Bulldog. But Skull responds immediately with a big boot of his own.
Who's the guy that has the body hair of Robin Williams?
Miguel Perez.
Oh, I love him.
There you go.
It's such a funny look.
Savio comes in to try and help, only to be hip-tossed. So 8-Ball comes in to keep up the attack on Estrada with a backbreaker, followed by a double-team back elbow with Crush, who also leg drops Jose. Perez jumps in the ring to break up a pin, but then gets taken down by a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker from Crush, before Lee and Castillo jump in, only for Jesus to be back body dropped, followed by a trio of flash elbow drops. Skull and 8-Ball then team up for a turnbuckle smash of Castillo, when Savio swings the momentum with a wheel kick to take the twins down from behind. And Skull is triple teamed by the Boricuas in their corner, followed by a corner clothesline by Perez, only for Skull to duck a Vega clothesline and bounce off with one of his own. All of a sudden, we see the Nation of Domination making their way towards the ring through the crowd, as the Boricuas rally continues as Castillo nails a scissor kick on Skull. And the Nation's just hanging out, watching the match, with Jesus telegraphing a back body drop, allowing Skull to knock him down.
And the Nation at this point is now Farouk, Kama, and then D'Lo and Ahmed. And I just have this thought. It's like, well, 2 of these guys are guys, and 2 of them are future guys. One's a past guy. By guy, I mean like somebody that matters. And it just sucks to see Ahmed Johnson have to be like second fiddle, even though the crowd doesn't view him that way. And what is the deal? Los Boricuas and DOA? None of these guys are guys. Crush and Savio Vega are low mid-card.
Mm-hmm.
Gang Wars, baby!
Bring it on.
But the Boricuas stay in control with frequent tags and chin locks before Miguel flies in with a missile dropkick and a dropkick from Jesus. Skull is able to avoid a corner splash from Vega, allowing him to make the crawl for the hot tag. Chain comes in, clotheslining Perez, press slamming Castillo, big boot to Savio, followed by everyone else jumping in for a Pier 6 that leads to Chainz being yanked through the ropes to the floor, where he immediately starts brawling with Ahmed Johnson.
You picked the wrong one there, buddy.
Yep.
And Ahmed retaliates with a Pearl River plunge on the concrete.
What a move. The crowd goes nuts. They like it.
Followed by Vega rolling Chainz in for a Perez elbow drop for the pin and the win. Post-match, the Boricuas and the Nation start brawling on the floor when DOA joins the fray as well. And the Boricuas then end up escaping down the aisle, leaving the others to continue fighting, when Crush would break up the fight by driving his motorcycle through the melee, sending everyone scattering.
And by driving his motorcycle through the melee, you mean he circled the ring slowly and drove right into the back where there's a side entrance with the SummerSlam logo above it because they needed the motorcycles to come through there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, this wasn't awful in-ring stuff, but, how could you care or expect anybody to care?
That's what I was going to say, is it has nobody in it that I give a teeny tiny
Ahmed is
of a fuck about.
Ahmed's the only guy anybody cares about, and he gets the heat from the crowd because they're like, "Oh, you went heel, fuck you." So they chant Ahmed sucks. But as soon as he does the Pearl River Plunge, which is a great looking move that he does very well, and has been used enough in the past that people can't help but react to it, he gets a huge pop. So the calculation is off here for what they want to do with any of these people at the moment.
JR then sends us to a video recap of Owen and Austin. Yeah. Where we see Hart bragging about beating Stone Cold at Canadian Stampede, saying he can out-wrestle Austin, before seeing footage of Stone Cold flipping off the Canadian crowd.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. Ask me that question again, Matt.
Is Owen Hart a zaddy?
I would have to say he is.
He
looks exceptionally handsome in these little segments here with his new haircut and his beefier face or something. Something changed in the face where he either gained a little weight or lost a little weight, and it's just sitting just right on him now. So yeah, I'm gonna say for the first time ever, he's a zaddy.
Owen Hart is deceptively handsome.
I mean, you should like him. He has a big nose.
And those piercing blue eyes.
Piercing blue eyes. Confidence.
See?
Austin then says you can shut him up, but you can't silence his fingers, before saying he'll kiss Owen's ass if he can't kick it. So we go to our sixth match. Owen Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Intercontinental Championship.
I mean, you missed the line. If Owen Hart beats him, then Owen can pull down his little panties and he will kiss his ass. Can't believe that he said little panties. It's like the worst two words next to each other I've ever heard.
Yep.
Hate it.
So Hart starts messing with a turnbuckle pad once he's in the ring, while Michael Cole tries to interview Stone Cold on his way to the ring, asking him if he's prepared to put his reputation on the line. Is he ready to kiss Owen's backside? And Austin tells Michael he'll make him kiss his ass if he doesn't leave him alone, before telling him to get his stupid bow tie out of his face, before making his way through the curtain and down to the ring.
Welcome to the team, Michael.
And Hart chop blocks Stone Cold from behind before the bell rings, focusing on the knee by smashing it across the ring post several times.
Posted.
But Austin fights back to nail a Thez press and a sternum first whip into a corner.
The Bret spot.
Yeah, I was going to say, those Harts can just
sternum's made
whip
of
that corner like nothing else.
The sternums of steel.
Stone Cold does some hair pulling, chokes, and goes for a running straddle, only for Owen to move, but Austin's right back up with a haymaker for a 2 count. Stone Cold then works the arm of Hart, using knuckle locks, hammer locks, and arm wringers, until Owen escapes with a back elbow and pulling Austin into a ring post.
Posted.
Hart then focuses on Stone Cold's middle finger, smashing it, wrenching it, twisting it, and even biting it.
I mean,
the finger contortion.
I kind of typically hate hand manipulation in wrestling matches, but we haven't seen it much from Owen, and it makes sense with the middle finger thing. It's getting a pass.
Now, the finger work does bring the ref's admonishment, only for Owen to tell him that Austin put it in his mouth. Now, Hart has Stone Cold's arms wrapped in the ropes, so he goes to charge in. But Austin gets loose to catch Owen with a stun gun and a powerbomb. followed by a clothesline that sends him out to the floor.
It's hot as hell. Crowd's into it.
And Hart decides to bail, but Stone Cold chases after him to nail a clothesline from behind and dragging Owen back to the ring, ramming him into the stage on their way. And Hart begs off, but Austin stomps away before going for a whip, only for Owen to reverse and deliver a belly-to-belly suplex, a neck breaker, and a leg drop for a near fall. And Hart continues with a top rope elbow drop and a head vice as Ross begins to mention Stone Cold's history of neck issues. And Austin's whipped to a corner, but he bounces out with a clothesline and attempts a sharpshooter, only to be kicked off and clotheslined by Owen, followed by another leg drop for a 2 count.
Crowd's going nuts. We're doing Austin chants. Let's go Austin chants. I love the change of focus on the body parts. Went from fingers to the neck. Owen's, pulling out all the stops to try to stop the fastest rising star in the company.
Hart has his whip reversed, sending him to the corner where he leaps up and off the turnbuckles with a crossbody that Austin rolls through to be on top for a near fall.
Ooh.
And Owen fights back to nail a bridging German for a 2 count before locking on a camel clutch to continue working the neck. But Stone Cold breaks free momentarily, only to telegraph a back body drop, allowing Hart to hit a DDT for a near fall.
It's so sick. And that his camel clutch, the camera choices and intensity of it is similar to the Bret Hart Stone Cold sharpshooter spot. And it feels like it was very intentional, even though it was a different move. Felt like they were trying to pick up the vibe and did it pretty well.
Owen with a chin lock when Austin would shove him to the ropes, allowing Stone Cold to apply a sleeper.
You mean the $1 Million Dream?
Which Hart escapes by shoving Austin off to the ropes, allowing Owen to lock on a sleeper. But Stone Cold just breaks free with a jawbreaker.
I mean, tease the stunner, brother.
Austin flies off the second rope with a double axe handle, only for Hart to catch him in the gut on his way down, followed by delivering a Russian leg sweep and a chin lock with leverage.
As the fans just stomp like crazy and chant for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The ref finally catches him, so Owen begins to argue with Earl Hebner, allowing Stone Cold to attack from behind, picking Hart up for a tombstone, only for Owen to reverse into a sit-out tombstone. Hart then begins walking around the ring taunting, allowing Austin to pull Owen over into a roll-up for the pin and the win.
And new! Through unfortunate circumstances for a disgusting-looking pile driver.
Yes.
Post-match, Vince mentions that Stone Cold's hurt, with Lawler chiming in that he may have a broken neck, which was the truth.
Yes.
And officials help Austin to his feet so he can lift the belt.
But Austin is still selling it.
But then aid him in walking to the back.
Austin trying to do it on his own as much as he can, but the pain is palpable. You know it's not a work. You can tell by the voice that McMahon speaks about it and the voice that the tenor of the voice of JR as well. It is not, yeah. It's like, ooh, fuck.
Yeah.
They're so concerned because it's like neck injury. That could be the end of the biggest thing we have going at the moment.
Yeah, it reminded me of, I don't remember what show it was, but where it was Macho Man and was it Gorilla Monsoon he was talking to, and then they had some annoying guy that was on commentary with him, where they just kind of like turned and talked to each other and just left the other guy.
Oh, Art Barr.
Yeah, that's what Lawler reminded me of with his. The two of them were all serious and actually turned towards each other talking, and he's
yapping,
doing his bullshit on the outside.
Well, before this horrific spot and weird finish, there's a thing that Owen did in this match that I thought was subverted typical wrestling choices where he puts his leg on the rope, on the bottom rope for leverage, but instead of doing it 3 times and the ref sees it, he does it once. Second time, he puts his legs on the second rope and he flew too close to the sun and the ref sees it and it ruins his chances because he got too confident. And I was like, that is the most genius and simple shit I've seen in such a, like, why hasn't anybody done that? It's so smart and so simple. And then we get, unfortunately, after that spot that I thought was ingenious, to an unfortunate botch pile driver.
Yep.
And a finish that is not believable.
It doesn't matter who's watching it; it's not believable.
It truly isn't. Like we talked last week about, there's a spot or two. We're talking about the Tenzan tripping, and it's like, that's more believable than Stone Cold can't even lift his head and he pulls Owen over, and it's like watching it in slow-mo. But crowd still goes nuts for Austin, and Owen was a big enough man to do the thing and let it end.
So the stories about the pile driver that have come out is that Stone Cold wanted Hart to do the Undertaker style tombstone, where he drops down to his knees.
Yeah.
But Owen was adamant about doing it the sit-out style. And obviously didn't have a good grip on him. Head got a little bit
too
low. So Hart was distraught over what happened.
Absolutely. He's maybe one of the sweetest men in wrestling, also the best ribber.
But he never checked on Austin afterwards.
Yeah, he was probably embarrassed.
Which led to a rift between the two men. Stone Cold says he forgave Owen, but regrets that they were never able to fully discuss it before tragedy would strike.
Yeah, it is very sad. I can imagine the shame that was the reason that Owen didn't. It's like, obviously, he was a sweet man, and he didn't take the wrestling business as seriously as his older brother. He did his job well and made a mistake tonight, but I think that he was probably just like, I can't imagine the shame I would have from, being somebody who prides himself in being safe. Like Bret Hart always talks about, it's like I hate chops because they fucking hurt, and the whole point is to make it look like it hurts. And I believe that Owen probably has a similar view. It comes from the same place. Really sad, but Austin goes on to have a huge career. It's not the same stunning Steve Austin or the Steve Austin we see before this, but it's still believable, and he only goes up from here. But it's just a bummer because it's one of the sweetest guys in wrestling and one of the biggest stars in wrestling, who seems sad. Had a dark cloud over him at points in time, personally, but yeah. It's like two guys you'd like to think could be having a beer right now.
Mm-hmm.
McMahon then sends us to a video package with highlights of the Hitman and Undertaker, showing us that the Hart Foundation is on a roll. But has it led to insolence and overconfidence? Bret promised to never wrestle in America if he can't win the title. The most awesome force in the WWF stands in Hart's way, as the Undertaker proudly carries the torch of distinction. But that's not the only roadblock in the Hitman's way.
Torch of distinction. Give me a break.
Shawn Michaels is the special ref, but if he leans towards the dead man's side, he too won't be able to wrestle in the United States. And we see Bret confronting Vince and wrestling the Patriot, who we haven't seen since Halloween Havoc 1994, episode 132, when the Heartbreak Kid would cost Hart the match, while Taker watched on from the ramp. Pride, power, and conflict will rule in this bout. Will possibility become reality? We then come back to the commentators speculating about Austin's condition, discussing the next match, where Lawler calls out Shawn for his ego, while Vince and JR question the Hitman's decision to put so much on the line.
It's a lot on the line. Also, I'm telegraphing it right here. Surprise of the night, Patriot rolling up Bret Hart on a WWF show? Come on, guys. Crazy. It might not have been on this show tonight, but it happened like on the Raw that week. Very funny.
I literally thought you were going to go Telegraph of the Night. Bret Hart putting up that he's never going to wrestle in the U.S. again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I wonder who's going to win.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, but we'll see what happens.
So we get our 7th match. Bret Hitman Hart versus The Undertaker for the WWF Championship with Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee.
Matt, I was just working kayfabe.
So Hart comes down to the ring and asks for the Canadian national anthem.
Ooh, can we get some Farmer's Daughter?
No, sorry. Just an instrumental version.
Damn.
I mean, it's honestly better.
And he dedicates the match to his Canadian fans, who still stand behind him. Now, once the song's over, the Heartbreak Kid enters with fireworks, causing Ross to worry that the other refs will want pyro now, too. And the King saying Hebner would look good in front of a Roman candle.
Pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. Yeah. Now, Shawn goes to check our competitors for weapons, but the Hitman is hesitant to let him.
He's not having it.
Before asking to hold the title belt. And Michaels allows it, only for Bret to use it to attack the dead man from behind.
But there's a beautiful moment where Shawn Michaels holds the belt and just looks at it with a glint in his eye. Where it's like, oh.
You're coming home to me.
Yeah. He just looks at it like, you know, it's a slice of cake on your 3rd birthday.
Like, you know what you would look good at? Over my waist in the middle of the Playgirl magazine.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, yeah, you can see his eyes glaze over in real time.
And the bell rings and the fight's on, with the two trading strikes, before Hart rolls out to regroup, only for Taker to follow, running the Hitman into a guardrail and a ring post. And Undertaker goes for a clothesline, but Bret moves, sending the dead man arm first into a ring post. Before also tossing him into the still steps.
Stepped.
And Hart goes for an apron elbow drop, only for Taker to catch and drive him back first into a ring post. Multiple times.
A little ridiculous.
Now back in the ring, Undertaker continues to work the back with double axe handles, backbreakers, and bear hugs. But the Hitman claws his way free, only to run into a big boot. The dead man then misses a leaping elbow drop and another big boot, allowing Bret to focus on the leg of Taker with stomps, elbow, and knee drops before applying a figure 4 when Paul Bearer would make his way down the aisle to the ring.
And all the while, Vince McMahon confirms that Stone Cold Steve Austin has been taken to a hospital. He says the word hospital, guys. That's how you know it's real. He said hospital, not medical facility.
Yeah, because the first aid station is technically a medical facility. Undertaker sees Bearer, which gives him the motivation to turn the figure 4 over, forcing Hart to break the hold and allowing the dead man to chase after Paul, punching him. But the Hitman uses the distraction to go back on the offensive, continuing a leg attack and putting Taker into a ring post aided figure 4.
And Vince McMahon is teasing the Kane storyline, and it's like it almost feels like Kane might show up tonight. But you're gonna have to keep listening to find out. Another thing is that Shawn is doing a pretty good job, but he is about 15 to 25% overdoing it.
Shawn Michaels,
as only Shawn should do. But you know, we haven't talked about it much, but it's so obvious in the match, and I feel like it's pretty important.
And Shawn starts the 5 count, which leads to an argument with Bret before they return to the ring, only for Owen and Pillman to then arrive to ringside. And Hart keeps up the attack on the leg, wrapping it around a ring post and dropping more elbows until Undertaker finally breaks free and heads outside to attack the Foundation members. And Michaels would come out, forcing them to the back. But while this happens, the dead man would roll back in to deliver a choke slam for the pin. And the Heartbreak Kid slow getting back into the ring to make the count,
Sorry, I was caught up.
which angers Taker, allowing the Hitman to roll him up for the pin. And no! Undertaker kicks out.
So close.
Now Bret rolls out to regroup, but then drags the dead man out as well, ramming his back into the apron and the ring post,
Posted.
before returning to the ring with a second rope double axe handle. And Hart takes control with a backbreaker, snap suplex, second rope elbow drop for a 2 count, followed by a DDT and headbutts.
Damn.
But Taker slows the momentum by hot-shotting the Hitman onto the turnbuckles for a near fall. And Bret retaliates with more headbutts, a side Russian leg sweep, and several leg drops, before going for the sharpshooter, only for Undertaker to block by grabbing Hart by the throat, shoving him off to the corner, but then charges into a boot. And the two trade strikes when the dead man would duck a clothesline, followed by hitting a leaping clothesline of his own, before whipping the Hitman sternum first into a corner, followed by a big boot and a leg drop for a 2 count. Taker with another choke slam for a near fall, but then goes for old school, only for the ropes to be kicked, causing Undertaker to be crotched. Yeah. And the Hitman nails a superplex and locks on the sharpshooter. But the dead man powers out, which sends Bret out to the floor.
My God.
And Hart returns to whip Taker, but a reversal leads to a clothesline and a tombstone attempt, only for the Hitman to escape and drag Undertaker to the corner for a ring post aided sharpshooter.
I mean, the ring post sharpshooter, it's like we've seen the figure 4 post spot a million times, but the sharpshooter around a post is not a thing that...
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good, but it's like we've seen him do the figure 4 one, and it's like, okay, well, now I need to bring out something else. And it might not look great, but emotionally it makes sense.
The dead man powers out again, this
Why?
time sending Bret crashing into Shawn. So Hart has had enough and grabs a chair to smash over the head of the Undertaker.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God.
And the Hitman starts yelling at Michaels to get in the ring to make the count for the pin. And the no Taker kicks out.
I mean, what an incredible looking chair shot, by the way.
Bret starts arguing with the Heartbreak Kid when Shawn spots the chair on the apron. And he confronts Hart about it, not backing down. So the Hitman spits in Michaels' face.
He earned it.
When Bret spits,
That's a lot of spit.
fucker can spit.
It means a lot.
He
Well, I
spit,
mean, you know,
when he spits on McMahon later on,
Yeah.
it's kind of that same thing. It's just like full on. Maybe that's what they teach you in Canada growing up. It's
well, I
like,
mean, he
here's the
is
perfect
from
loogie.
the cow country of Canada, and we all know
That's
cows
right.
be chewing cud.
the deep north.
Yeah, deep north.
An angry Heartbreak Kid goes to swing the chair, but Bret ducks, causing the dead man to take the blow.
Perfect.
And Hart makes the cover with Shawn reluctantly making the count for the pin and the win. And new! Post-match, a frustrated Michaels storms to the back, while the Hitman celebrates as fans throw trash into the ring. And Bret raises 5 fingers to signify that he's a 5-time champ, which, by the way, tied Hulk Hogan for the most WWF reigns at the time.
But not time-wise, because San Martino was champ for like 8 years.
Yeah, not length, but most reigns.
Most reigns, yeah.
While a pissed-off Undertaker stumbles toward the back after Heartbreak Kid, only to stop, turn, and look back at Hart,
With his eyes.
kissing the belt. The Hart Foundation then comes out to join the Hitman in celebration, with Vince sounding disappointed and JR not understanding what Shawn was thinking. The Foundation then heads to the back as McMahon says his goodbyes, and we fade to black. So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of SummerSlam 1997?
It's a good show. There's 2 not-so-good matches. Big props to Undertaker for taking 2 wild, unprotected chair shots incredibly well. Obviously, they've been teasing Kane on his way. But, yeah, there's 2 matches that are pretty meh. One is an angle, and the other one's kind of like better than expected, but it's like 2 piss matches. I guess we watch WCW shows where there's 5 of them, so like this is pretty solid. I ain't mad at it.
No, it still holds up. I mean, you got why am I blanking on names all of a sudden? Triple H and Mankind match to start it off, which it was fun. It had its a couple of mishaps in it, but overall it was an enjoyable match.
It's a weird first match. Like putting people in a cage match at the beginning of the card is weird.
Because of the cage.
Because of the cage, but also just like...
So otherwise you have to sit there.
That's a lot to ask from 2 people to have them go first.
As much as I enjoy the old cage look, I know you hate it, but... I
don't have a problem with the look. I have a problem with the who first to leave issue. I don't care for that.
I enjoy those old style cage matches, but as somebody who had to sit through them setting it up, tearing it down a couple different times at house shows,
it should happen.
It sucks. Yeah. So starting it as the first one, I'm totally on board with, because you don't have to sit there and watch them set it up. It's already good to go.
What's funny is they
wait those 5 minutes for them to tear it down.
What's really funny is they had the time to do that with the stupid key giveaway thing, which was plenty long enough for a cage to be set up or taken down.
Very true.
But, I don't dislike the match. I love the look of that old steel blue cage. I just don't like who leaves the ring first, because it doesn't feel like the way to finish a series of matches. I do feel like at the end of this show, Shawn Michaels looks worse than Bret Hart.
He's supposed to.
He is supposed to.
This is all his fault.
Yeah, he's supposed to, for sure. But I guess that's the point. Mm-hmm. I guess they really just they worked me over.
Because now it's gonna spark a little quote unquote bad blood between him and Taker, and they're gonna have their match, and then Taker's gonna break his own way, and it's gonna round its way back around to
Bret.
To Bret and Shawn doing what they do best.
But this is also sad, because I'm like, well, I love a heel champion, but Shawn looks worse in the end, and I feel like it's like, oh, well, is this the last significant championship run for Bret Hart in his career? Which is so sad.
I'm trying to remember if it switches at all.
It is.
But yeah, I'm pretty
it
sure
absolutely
it is.
No, he wins one in WCW.
I mean, in WWF, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in WWF, but just in WCW, it's not significant, is it?
I mean, is any championship run in WCW significant?
No.
I mean, if you want to look at... basically, no, because Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA, yes.
Since Hogan showed up.
No.
From 94 to the end of WCW, there is no significant title run
in WCW. Maybe, not significant, but just like meaningful, I guess. Because there's a difference between meaningful and significant.
There is no meaningful title run.
Is Diamond Dallas Page the most meaningful one? Post Hogan? Because he was super over.
I'd say either him or Booker, probably.
I mean, Booker only because...
I think...
I mean, think about it this. Booker won it 5 times before...
Five times.
WCW went away. Booker T's not even a single star here in 97.
Yeah. But...
so in 4 years, he won it 5 times.
Whether we like it or not...
But you got to say the same about Bret, though. In 4 years, Bret won it 5 times, because he won it first in 93 from Flair. And then,
that's true.
And then here we are, 97.
But Bret is significant, I feel like, in WWE.
Yeah, but
also in WCW, there was about 12 other people that also had title reigns during that 5 times that Booker had it. Too.
Yes. Yeah, because there wasn't...
Hot potato becomes a thing.
For sure.
I was just singing that song at work.
In my head, I'm thinking,
yesterday.
Dallas Page towards the end, and then, of course, Goldberg at one point. Significant
I guess,
that it was
I guess Goldberg is probably the only significant one
that moved tickets.
I don't even know if it moved tickets.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just more Goldberg selling tickets more
Yeah.
than him being the champion.
but
selling
yeah,
tickets.
Brett held the line.
Like,
at a
Goldberg
point.
was WCW's Ultimate Warrior, essentially.
Yeah, but he was.
Couldn't really do a whole lot. Got the crowd riled up, but had to be done within 2 minutes. Otherwise, he couldn't hang.
But it was hidden well in a time where people weren't interested in wrestling for the most part. In actual
And I
in-ring
say that
stuff.
as once upon a time, a ginormous Ultimate Warrior fan.
Yeah. Totally.
I'll say it as a used to be ginormous Goldberg fan.
Yeah.
But back to this show.
Yes.
I want to say that it's above average, but the
I agree.
injury does leave a bit of a bad taste in your mouth,
Oh, yeah.
It does. It's sad.
which
like he just-
also leads to the main event having to go a little bit longer than it probably should have.
Yeah.
And I also wonder if Austin was supposed to do any kind of a run-in just to fuck with Bret.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think that would have been too much because Shawn's already right there. So, like, if Austin comes in, that muddies the waters.
Yeah,
where
I think the whole Austin was moving away from. They were trying to separate Austin and Bret.
Well,
Yeah.
just with the Davy Boy Bulldog coming down, I could see that being a window for Austin to come and take them out at least.
Yeah, but I feel like Austin wins the belt regardless. Obviously, he was going to win.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's the reason why they
Yeah.
did the finish.
Yeah. And but I think that after that, it's like Austin doesn't care anymore. He won his belt and he's going home, and like he'll deal with whatever else later. He won that night. He's no longer spurned for the next 12 hours until his blood starts pumping again. It's like, oh yeah, no, It's like, yeah, I got what I was aiming for this evening. We'll start crossing people to the next day. We'll figure out our plan later.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So, what are some of the best moments of this show?
Me realizing Shawn's the bad guy and hoping that the crowd will too. Just hoping that the crowd will too. So I don't know that I believe that they will.
I mean, he's a tweener.
Yeah.
He's a tweener for sure. But I mean, Ken Shamrock British Bulldog was very fun. I guess a big surprise would be that the Godwinns, even though I don't give a shit, were doing something different and had a more interesting energy about them.
Dude Love.
Good point. Yeah, I should remember that because I loved Dude Love
Yep.
as a kid. Still, I think it's one of the better theme songs. As much as I love Mankind and Cactus Jack, and I think that Mick Foley taking on comedy was good for his health and that he was good at it. I guess he had to do the other things first. Because he couldn't have always done the comedy thing and we would have believed it. But people were so just positive on him as a human. And I think that existed before the JR interview where people were like, oh no, I love this guy. He's my favorite uncle. He reminds me of my dad.
You
He's
say
my
that
older
as somebody
brother.
who's watched a lot of stuff. Back in the day, you watched WWF.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times you watched only one, so
Yeah,
you didn't know about
you
his.
were one or the other back
Yeah,
then.
you didn't know about.
Oh, I know,
Cactus
because-
Jack. You didn't know about his time in ECW. So.
No, but I knew about it a little bit because I had, I guess, Three Faces of Foley tape comes out a little after this. But, like, I didn't know that stuff going in. So, like, I come into just, Mankind probably about 6 months after this point in time. And then
Yeah, at the
then
time-
you
I
find
remember,
out.
I remember when Mankind showed up, I didn't realize that it was Cactus Jack.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know who Cactus... I learned those things after the fact. I just started watching the show and I was like, oh, this is my guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is a good point. And it's so hard to believe that anybody could just, like, watch it and then not look it up. The internet is so lame and should be abolished.
I mean, the only thing I was looking up was pictures of Sonny on the internet.
Sable, Terry Runnels. I was a fan.
Nah.
Owen
Nah.
Hart.
No, I wasn't one who looked up stuff on the internet because I didn't realize all that stuff really exists. I heard about people talking about, so and so being the most downloaded woman on the internet, but I don't know how to download shit. I'll just sit in this chat group.
I wasn't using the internet regularly in '97.
And then get pissed off when somebody calls because it kicks you off.
Oh, yeah.
Shamrock's intensity.
It's very good. It was great. He did a great job. The surprising that...
He needed this.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wasn't getting over.
No, the him and Vader thing I don't think was awful.
Because too many people watched UFC back in the day and realized that his matches were boring as fuck.
Well, also I think the humiliation angle, and then him bleeding from the mouth, and then having enough and getting DQ'd by hitting a much larger man in the back of the head in a believable fashion. It's now this guy's fucking cool. To the point where we're about to get the new Raw intro at some point, and Ken Shamrock's a big part of that. Remember that old intro? It looks like a giant parking garage, and it's just shots of wrestlers, but Ken Shamrock's a part of that, which is kind of impressive because I feel like Ken Shamrock was kind of a guy for a year and a half, but they never really pulled the trigger on him, and that was kind of it.
Because he wasn't built there.
No, and he comes from a different world. That's why him and Vader was a good idea, but not as compelling as this. But Shamrock, I feel like he started to get it here.
Bret's just the pure dickish attitude from the second he steps into the ring for the Canadian national anthem, and the entire time he stands there during it, just stone-faced.
It's some of the better...
a couple of words here, but fuck you guys, this is my song. Listen.
Some of the better, promo work from Bret. He did that heel one where he kind of stumbled or whatever, but it's less is more. He has such a good face that if he can manipulate it correctly, he doesn't need to say anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
How about most disappointing?
Gang War. But Gang War in ring, better than I expected. And I guess the biggest disappointment in all of that is that all said and done, the story...
was being expected to be the face.
No, that all said and done, the story is hell yeah, Ahmed Johnson. I just know it doesn't lead anywhere. But that's just hindsight. But at the time, it's you want Ahmed Johnson to eventually defect. You want him to be in here for a short period of time, defect. And it's if they're hiding an injury with him in Nation of Domination, and it's a couple of months, and then he comes out and turns on them, beats Farouk, and turns face again, that's great, but we know that even if that potentially was the plan, that it doesn't come to fruition. So
yeah, he's soon to be shocked by this ball of electricity that's building on the back burner right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I loved Triple H and Mankind.
I thought it was great.
But Chyna missing your cue. And knowing that there was supposed to be a heart painted on his chest, took the level of
intensity
of everything down just a notch. So I'm like I said, love the match, but
it's not the third match they wanted to have.
Disappointed that it didn't go off without a hitch.
Yeah,
it wasn't the best match of their trilogy.
I don't know. I really feel like this was my favorite one of the bunch.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was.
But you don't like the cage, so you're never going to love this match.
That's true. I don't even like the cage when Bret and Owen do it, and I like that match obviously infinitely more.
See, I don't have an issue
with it leaving the cage.
With them leaving the cage, because if you're not going to put a ref in the cage to count, then obviously that's going to be a way to to win the match.
For sure. I just feel like
because you basically are trying to just knock the crap out of your opponent so that you can escape the cage.
Yeah, it's
you can't just punch them and then go, all right, time for me to leave. You got to beat them down. You have to deliver punishment.
I get it, but I don't want anybody to walk out until it's over. But I guess that's the idea.
I mean, most people don't walk out. That doesn't really become a thing until like much later.
Yeah.
Like Hunter looks like he's going to do it in this one, but I don't think anyone actually wins by just going out the front door of the cage for many more years.
They never should, I don't think, because that's the cheap way out. And the whole idea of the steel cage is that there should be no cheap way out.
I got another one here. It's an accidental one on the commentators, but all the talk about necks on this show, because we have the Henry coming back from a neck injury, talking about that. Then the lead up to the actual move. Well, they think they're building it up because that's what Owen is working on. I get it. Yeah. But just
when it happens
now, 27 years later, and knowing what's coming.
Well, even in the moment, it feels like it's like, oh, that's not what they wanted to happen, and you can tell from the concern in their voices where it's like, oh yeah, that was the angle, but the angle just got too real.
But just the whole accidentalness of the commentary, building up all these neck injuries to then actually there being one on the show.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like,
It is a true shame, but, it could have been so much worse. Like, D'Lo and draws. Like, holy shit. Basically, nothing had to change outside of, like, Austin didn't have enough calcium that week, and he could have ended up in the same position. Mm-hmm. And they're both great. And everybody, draws is not Stone Cold Steve Austin, Owen Hart, or D'Lo Brown, but D'Lo Brown, Austin, and Owen Hart are all famously safe workers. Shit happens.
Yep. The Gang Wars match, don't give two shits about.
I think Brian Lee did a better job than I expected, but I don't care about any of it. I think it was better than it should have been, but it shouldn't have been on the show.
The fact that they didn't, and I know they didn't know the severity of it, but when Austin was injured, laying there, obviously not really moving, I just think they should have called it right there.
Well,
but that's not what they did back then.
That's not what they did back then. And you can also see the ref talking with Austin, and Austin is choosing to go on. You can see him having the conversation.
Because that's what they did back then.
That's what they did back then, for sure. Like, yeah, it's a hindsight thing where it's like, yeah, he could have been so much more hurt. Thank God he wasn't.
Because actually,
Vince would have to break character.
Because when Owen kicks out after the roll up, it actually hurt the neck even more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it should have.
But Austin chose to do it, and he also chose as his character to try and leave on his own multiple times, which was like him working in character because he knew he shouldn't have.
As a boss, you have to take that choice away and say, "This is what we're doing."
But you can't.
I know it was a different time.
Television.
You can. You just choose not to.
Have you ever in WWF? Have you ever seen a match get stopped because of something?
No, that's what I'm saying. You can't.
Not until Vince left. Yeah. I have seen it twice.
Yeah.
And it's both been after Vince has been gone.
Yeah.
So recently?
Recently.
Well, I guess the Big E was on the outside, right?
Match kept going,
but he was on the outside, so they took care of it.
I mean,
there was literally a
Lawler
match
had
like
a fucking heart attack on air, and they kept going.
Yeah.
Blue Blazer fucking dies, and the show keeps going.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like, Vince doesn't stop the show.
And it's also one of those things. Like, what do you do?
That's when you just be open and honest with your audience. Everybody knows that these are paid people that are doing this.
Back then, they didn't, though.
But they did.
They did, but they didn't.
The kids didn't. The adults did.
Yeah.
The kids are going to get over it.
Also, like how,
the fact of seeing somebody die in the middle of the ring.
I see it both ways, but it's like always. I'm always going to side on the idea of like safety and well-being, but I don't.
I mean, we are now.
I don't. Yeah, I will. I mean, just.
I mean, yeah. Undertaker. Literally, the next match after this happens, Undertaker takes 2 horrific chair shots to the head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They didn't know anything about CTE back then.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
No, it was just like
It's
this,
for the show.
This sucks and it's part of the deal. But I'm just saying I will always side on safety, but I'm not there. I can't call the shot. It's not for me to do. I mean, you remember within the last couple of years, we would get Naito Kota Ibushi matches where the whole match would be those guys dropping each other
on their head,
on their heads
over
and over again, and they were incredibly entertaining. And it got to the point where you were excited for it, and then it would be hard to watch. It's similar, like a more American example of this is Bryan Daniel finally comes back. He does his vegan champion run, which I thought was really fun and great. He did great.
And then
great
Lesnar
mic
just tosses him
and
around.
Lesnar dumps him on his head, just like release Germans him like 10 times in a row, and your stomach turns watching it. Mm-hmm. But my God, was it compelling.
But they got the emotion out of you.
They did.
That they wanted.
They absolutely did it.
Yeah.
So, it's a dirty business, and you're a stuntman. Stuntmen don't live extremely long lives. It is what it is, and I only want the best for everybody, but no situation is completely controllable.
Yeah. So, yeah. The fact that nobody did anything and the fact that we just never know what could have been. Had Austin not had a neck injury, how long would he have stuck around, or how much longer would he have stuck around? If him and Owen didn't have this match, Owen wouldn't have been shuffled off.
I mean, you also got to think, what if he just goes and gets the surgery? Yeah. Right then and there.
Yeah. I mean, also Austin becomes so over that he says, I'm not going to do the job, and then they call him out the next day on the next like live show on TV. So it's like it's just kind of messy.
Put a neck brace on, you'll be fine.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it was like when is it Lesnar? He's like, I'm not going to do the job, and then they like say they get on air and say, oh, he let you down, and it's like the guy that allowed. There's a few guys that built up to this, but the guy that allowed for you to become a publicly traded company, the guy that kind of helped you open the door to being potentially...
Vince doesn't care.
I know. And then I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm not saying it's cool in any direction, but it's always been dirty, and that's part of the reason that we love it at the same time. Because it's less fun when everybody agrees on everything all the time. Because not everybody has great instincts.
Well, who's our best performer of the night?
Ooh.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's Bret for me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Austin and Owen are both great. Shawn Michaels overdid it, but he completed his job. Bret finally feels like the heel... It's like he finally starts to get a handle on the heel that he's portraying. And it's weird to see him as a heel. But it's undercut with Shawn being a corny clown in the ring.
I'm going to, yeah.
Which is a positive.
Bret, for sure, of performers. But I'm also going to give it to little Ryan Chaddock, or whatever his name was, for... not winning $1 million on TV as a little kid, not crying on TV from not winning $1 million, and holding his composure after getting that big old hug from Sable.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he's...
I mean, I'm sure he was holding his composure, but his pants weren't.
Yeah. He was wearing New Jersey earmuffs.
And how about most surprising of the night?
I guess the gang. Like Brian Lee, it's like, oh... Chainz, and who was 8 Ball?
One of the Blue Brothers.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was surprised at it felt like a moderately sized jump into like humiliation angles and more attitude era-y stuff. Dog food, dresses, the really horny win $1 million stuff, where I was like,
kissing asses.
Kissing asses, yeah. It's like it felt like okay.
Pulling
well,
down little
we've been
panties and
taking
kissing
like
asses.
we've been taking tiny steps, but this one felt like it took it jumped like 2 stairs in front of you, or it was like, oh, I'm gonna take a real big step, and yeah. And some of the benefits of that are Ken Shamrock bleeding from the mouth, cracking Bulldog over the head, and not giving a shit, which is Austin-ish, but he kind of did it in his own way. The Vince McMahon focusing on the blood, the camera zooming into Shamrock's mouth full of blood, is, I guess, further points out my hypotheses.
Todd Pettengill saying goodbye, but not really. Just
Michael Cole showing up.
just leaving.
Yeah, I didn't even catch Michael Cole on the show.
Yeah.
Where, like, I heard you say it when we
He
were
was talking to
talking.
Austin backstage,
Yeah.
wearing his stupid little bow tie. And he looked about 14.
Yeah, he was probably 19.
He was actually a respected reporter for some major news outlet. He actually covered the Oklahoma bombing. He was like the lead reporter for
Is
them.
he from Oklahoma?
No,
Oh.
it was a national
National. Yeah.
thing. But
Yeah,
he was
for like CNN or.
I was just like,
MSNBC.
oh, you actually have like a
Babyface.
journalistic background. I was like, whoa, that's kind of insane.
Yeah. Also, like, Michael Cole still, like, he might be 70, but he looks like 45, 40, like, or 50.
Thank you.
He still looks pretty young. No, but I'm saying, for considering how long he's been around.
I know, I'm just saying, considering how long he's been around, he's
you
older
look,
than me.
You look great, Shane.
So guess him older.
Yeah.
And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
World Championship Wrestling had withdrew their membership from the National Wrestling Alliance, meaning the organization had no champion. So they scheduled a tournament to crown a new champ, bringing back the 10 pounds of gold belt to represent this. By 1994, Eastern Championship Wrestling had become the NWA's most televised affiliate, so the tournament was held at the ECW Arena on August 27th. Shane Douglas and Too Cold Scorpio had made their way through the tournament to face each other in the finals. They would go back and forth to start until Douglas hits a back suplex and applies a camel clutch, only for Too Cold to counter into an electric chair drop. Scorpio would keep up the attack with a leaping clothesline, a slingshot splash, and a missile dropkick, before attempting a suplex, only for Shane to reverse to drop Too Cold on a guardrail. Douglas would bring Scorpio into the ring the hard way, followed by a crossbody attempt that Too Cold ducks, before nailing a tombstone piledriver. Scorpio would head up top to fly off with a moonsault, but Shane avoids and delivers a belly-to-belly suplex for the pin to become the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. After the match, Douglas would talk about the history of the belt, name-dropping legends who had held it, only to throw it down, telling the NWA to kiss his ass. He isn't a man to accept a torch from an organization that died years ago. Shane continues that he is a man who ignites the new flame of the sport of professional wrestling, picking up his ECW title and declaring it a world title. Douglas would defend the Extreme Championship Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship for the next year, while the NWA would go back to the drawing board to find any sense of relevance.
We could argue that they're still working on it.
They got it back for like a few years there.
Yeah, they did.
And they gave it away to a Funkasaurus.
Well, the early, like, even the, like, early
I'd say the
power...
early TNA days, they kind of gained a little bit more relevance then, but then...
That's right, they were NWA TNA.
There was also the, like...
But like the last time anyone really cared about the NWA was All In 2019.
Yeah, Aldis and Cody. And then Power was pretty well reviewed, but then the pandemic happened.
But Aldis had it the entire time. that show was on. So
Yeah, but like
yeah,
it was doing pretty well. Pandemic happened, kind of killed it. Who knows where the show could have possibly gone, but there just wasn't money or eyes, and things were weird. So,
it's kind of crazy to think that both commissioners, GMs, whatever they're called, of the two WWF shows are former NWA World Heavyweight Champions.
Yep.
It's Aldous and
Pierce,
yeah.
I bet they could still kick someone's ass if they really needed to.
Oh, yeah. No, that's kind of a great reason for it. It's like, Aldous is like, hey, nah. And you're like, well, yeah. Like, you can probably take most of the roster.
Next week, WCW Monday Night Nitro from August 4th, 1997.
It's the 100th episode.
Or is it? We'll talk about it next week. Music from this week's show is Real City by Ruben Ayala. And Bret won our main event, so we play his theme, Hart Attack by Jim Johnston.
Bring it on.
If you like this episode or any of our others, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts at. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
recipes, drink ideas, where are we going? We're going to Michigan next.
Auburn Hills.
Auburn Hills. I think that's maybe near Detroit.
I mean, I assume it's at least...
It's like between Detroit and
Ann Arbor. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, if you've been to Michigan, tell me what I need to bring. Food, beverage, dessert,
I don't know
something, snacks. I've made something from there before, but I don't remember.
Wolverine Tales.
Yeah.
Sure. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
sure it probably is.
What'd you say?
He said Wolverine Tales.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
I mean, oxtail's pretty good.
I mean, it's
Oxtail's
probably
delicious.
like a donut that just...
Oh, okay. I see what you're
Yeah, it's
saying.
like a Long John that...
Yeah. I was expecting you to... I thought you were talking about like some kind of
No.
bizarre meal. But we'll get there.
If you have any of those things, you can email us at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. It's Wrestling HISTO X. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.